right.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Collector's Haven. I'm Mike Pingel. I'm your host for this amazing show. Today, we have Michael. I'm not going to screw up your last name because I always do it anyway.
It's okay.
Who is a vintage collector on TV and film items. And thank you for coming on the show. How do you pronounce your last name?
Sure. No, thank you so much for having me. So, my last name is pronounced Valvo. So, like a lot of
Uh,
times I get, the car, people think it's that pronunciation, but fun
or like
fact,
a Volvo.
yes, it's similar spelling to the car, and it was my actually the first car I had was an '87 Volvo station wagon. So, Valvo had a Volvo.
Those must have been really wonderful days.
Oh, it was. I missed that car. That thing was a tank.
Now, where do you live in New York, or am I just making that up?
No, yeah, that's correct. I live in Astoria in Queens specifically.
Oh, Queens.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been here for just over 10 years now, which is crazy, and in the same apartment the entire time, which is like unheard of in New York.
That's true. That's true. Because either the landlord kick you out or the cockroaches, one of the two, right?
One of the two, yeah. And I've had no cockroaches, but I have a good landlord, so I'm winning.
You're winning. You're winning. You're
Yeah.
winning. Well, welcome to the show and tell us a little bit more about your collection. What you say TV and film that, do you just everything you like, or is there certain ones you just collect on?
It's kind of, yeah. I mean, it is definitely. I say TV and film, vintage TV and film collector because it's the umbrella term that I like to use, and then from there I describe what my collection is. And specifically, I collect Lucille Ball memorabilia, the Munsters, the Addams Family, Golden Girls, Grease 2. It's literally all of my
Wait, wait,
favorite
wait, wait.
things.
Step. Grease 2.
Grease 2.
Cool
Yes.
Rider.
Oh,
Do it for your
it's my
country because your
oh,
country wants you to.
it's my jam. I love it. I'm
No, no,
so
no, no. We had forget everybody else. Grease 2. Tell me. Oh my God. I was just in the room with Maxwell Coughlwell the other day and I had my Grease 2. I was with the Carrington thing. It's a whole event, but I
Oh
was unable to
my
get him to
gosh.
sign it. But he was a lovely person. And I met him, his wife was
Oh, I'm
um,
so jealous. I had such a crush on him growing up. I was like, oh, he
well, yeah,
Maxwell
because
Coulton.
he was in that silver, the silver suit and on the thing.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
just want Michelle Pfeiffer fantasy, I'm telling you. I love Grease
I
too.
would walk over every single ladder to get to him. And
Oh,
sing Cool Rider every single time.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I've done it because how you just want to, do that choreography on top of it. It's so fun. It's iconic, I think.
Well, Girl for All Seasons. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I can't stop. I can't stop. I love
Yes.
Grease 2. All right, so it's Grease 2, Lucy, the Monsters or
Mhm.
the
Yep, the
Monsters?
Munsters and the Adams Family.
And the Adams Family.
Yeah,
That's a lot of black and white going on right there.
I know it's so much, and I do Golden Girls as well. I have
What?
some
No, Golden
Disney.
Girls too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
I
fun. I love it.
I just collect Charlie's Angels and Star Wars, and I don't even do a lot of Star Wars, but
Oh, okay.
and I won't even tell you the horrible story last night. I buy most of my stuff now on eBay,
Hmm.
and I there was something I purchased that I was looking at going, don't buy it. Don't buy it. You have it. That is in that magazine, Angels in Hawaii. It's in there.
Hmm.
And then I was like, no, it's only $15. Just buy it. I haven't seen that picture or whatever. And it says it's
Yes,
like no, no.
I
It was a rip
completely
off.
understand.
It's a rip.
Hmm.
I feel bad for myself.
No, don't feel bad. Never feel bad. Listen, in these times, I think that this is one of the things that gives me, so much joy. So I think don't deny yourself any joy. Gas prices are too high now. Like, have fun.
Right? So
Yeah.
where do you buy most of your collectibles now?
So I do buy. I would say majority is through eBay, but I also work with different like friends of mine that are also collectors, and so I've done private sales through them, and I love a good antique mall. Ooh, I love a good antique mall.
Right?
Yeah, I like that's like Disney World to me is an antique mall, and
Yeah.
like all day I'm in.
I'm like that. I have my bionic guy going nee 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 nee.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I can scan a whole thing in like 4 seconds.
Yes, oh my gosh, I do the same thing. And when I visit my parents and I go home and we go to the local antique mall, I mean, I've gone through it probably twice and they're still just working through one wing. And they're like,
Yep.
"How do you do it?" And it's like you just zero in. You know what you want.
You know what the packaging is, you know what's gonna be, you know
Yep.
exactly. I know pink, angels,
Right.
Farah. I know it all. I know it all.
Yes. Yes.
So when did you start collecting your collection?
So I started around hmm, around like 8 is when I started. And my first item, uh, and I still have it. It's with my parents, but I have my mom's Munsters color forms kit that she had when she was a child, and I
Wow.
actually found it uh, in a storage area at my parents' house, and I couldn't believe it because I was so excited. Like I said, I was 7, 8, 9, right around there, and but when I was a kid, though, I thought, oh my gosh, if this is here, what else could be in here? So I was like, oh, I bet there's even more Munsters things. And my mom was like, no, no, it's just this. You got lucky. This was it. But I still have it, and I spent the last couple of years completing it because it had some missing pieces. But I was able to buy. I think I bought 4 other ones over the years, resold them, and was able to show her a completed set. And it was really fun.
Wow. So you're a completionist.
I am a completionist. Yeah, I really do try to do that.
Yeah, that's I mean, if you can find it. I mean,
That's the thing.
the problem is
Yeah.
with the stuff that I mean, I don't know if you find problems with the stuff I collect. I mean, it's like one and done, you know. And I'm like,
Mhm.
where the heck is the rest of them? What
Yeah.
storage unit in New Jersey are they at?
Exactly, and that's why I think why we're constantly on eBay. We're checking it. The app is just a blessing and a curse because if I'm waiting for a subway, I'm like, what's there today? Okay, yep, there. Oh, found it. Favorite. Remember it. I. That's what I
Buy
do.
it now, buy it now.
Is it? Yes, yes. Click buy it now. Remember when it ends to bid. All the things.
Mhm. Right?
Yes.
So what really got you into collecting?
Well, I think what really got me into it as well, of course, just finding it was definitely that first item, and then learning. Um, I would go to the local library, and I would go to the reference section, and I would just spend literally the whole time at the library looking at those like toy guide books that we all used to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you didn't rip any pages out because I know I did.
No,
No, I
I
did. I did.
no,
Yes, I
I
did. Yes, I did.
I photocopied. I was good.
I
I paid
ripped.
10 cents a page.
I ripped and took. I ripped and took.
Oh
I
my
was an
god, no,
angel undercover. What do you expect?
true, true. So that's kind of how I really learned about it, that there was just more out there. And I'm originally from Lucille Ball's hometown. I'm from Jamestown, New York. So I used to volunteer for the museum for 10 years. And my parents, they're amazing. They volunteered with me as well, and for all the different festivals and things. So there were collector shows, and so I was seeing this stuff in person, and I would nag my parents to bid on eBay for me because I was 11 and 12, and I was like, I want that. And, I didn't have an eBay account. So I had to nag and save my allowance. And that's kind of how it, how it started with everything.
Yeah, I know. I was just actually I just interviewed Rhoda Barrett. I don't know if you remember Rhoda Barrett and her Rhoda Barrett magazines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just interviewed her, and
Uh huh.
but she was one of those people that in the back, there was this thing that you had to fill out to get that magazine for $3. And my mom was so
Yes.
sweet to actually take the
Oh,
time, and I gave her the $3, and she wrote me the check, and I sent it away, and then 2 weeks later I got my
oh,
magazine.
ah, what
Memories.
would we do without them? I'm so grateful to them for, supporting my love of this and, everything what they did, volunteering with me. And, it was a lot of fun. So they're a big part of how I was able to find and enjoy all of this.
Excellent. Well, let's look at some collectibles. I want to see some stuff.
Sure.
Let's see
Okay.
stuff.
I'm gonna show you these. I literally just got one of them yesterday in the mail, and I'm ecstatic about it. So, in the Munsters canon, if you will, there is a 1995 TV movie called Here Come the Munsters, and I personally really love this movie. They did such a great job. It's like Edward Herman was Herman Munster, Veronica Hamill was Lily, Robert Morse, Grandpa, Christine Taylor from the Brady Bunch movies. Like it had an all-star cast, and it had cameos from the original four because Fred Gwynne had just recently passed. And there is never, ever anything from this movie available. And I can't believe I'm able to hold these and say I have them. But these are the original wigs. So this it was Robert Morse who played Grandpa in the movie. This was his wig, and Matthew Bouchus was Eddie, and this is his wig. And Stephen Johnson was the designer of these, and he did all the makeup and all the wigs for the movie. And I mean, they're lace front. This one still has the product in it. You know, you could see like the tufts of Grandpa's hair, and they're absolutely beautiful. And I've never been able to find anything from this movie, and this was like truly bucket list to be able to find these. And I bid till my heart's content, but I was like, I'm winning, and I got them.
So was that an eBay thing or was that like an auction
No,
house?
this was eBay. Believe it or not, this
Really?
yeah, these came from a collection that's in Pittsburgh, and it's one of the two largest collections that I know of in the world. And the other one is Kevin Burns, who he just recently passed away out of California. And there was an auction. Who did it? I think it was Julian's maybe that auctioned off like a lot of the original costumes this past fall. So yeah, these came from Pittsburgh, and I'm just super excited and grateful. Yeah, I got this one 2 weeks ago. This came in the mail yesterday, so I mean, literally the Munster fantasy in my hands. I love it.
So my burning question is, how much did you
Yes.
pay for them?
So I think I did extremely well. Grandpa was 305, which
Okay.
I was amazing, and believe it or not, Eddie was a solid 153. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
for less than 500 for the two, I was just like, I mean, these are wigs. Like, you just don't see this sort of stuff on the market. So
Yeah.
I was ready to go higher and higher, but I'm grateful I didn't. So I think I got these for a steal.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
And you have something to wear at Halloween too. So there you go.
I know. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm sure that with the lace front, glue it down. I could give a drag queen a run for her money with these. I'll tell you what. But I wouldn't. They stay in the case.
Okay. All right. I understand. I understand.
I know. So yeah, these were just new additions. So I absolutely love them. There we go. Let's see
All
what.
right. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I sound like.
So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll show different things to you from like because I said I collect so many different things.
Yes.
So this next one is this is a Lucille Ball one here, and these are sweatpants that she wore on Life with Lucy, and it's kind of I'm gonna try to see if I can really get a full. I mean, like they're full on sweatpants. She wore these in the saxophone episode they did. Lucy is a sax symbol, and I truly love Life with Lucy. I'm very fascinated by it. I think because it was so short lived, I think it's really interesting that it was the one thing in her career that didn't take off. So I'm always fascinated by this show, and I had looked for years to try to find anything wardrobe related from it, and I got this during the pandemic. I was at my parents' house. I stayed there for 10 months of the pandemic, and I bought these from a friend of mine. And so my mom witnessed me opening these, and she was like, "You are literally shaking." And I was like, "I know, it's so exciting." And so these are really, really special to me.
Have you put them on?
No, and everyone's asked that. I'm like, no, I have not put them on.
Look at me with the burning questions everyone asks.
No, but you know what? I just hold it, and I do that. I look like Linus for a second there with my blanket, but it's just Lucille Ball sweatpants. But yeah, so these last fall, or 2020, so 2 years ago, yeah.
Wow. Wow, those are great.
Thank you. Yeah, I really love the show. Like I said, Life with Lucy, and one of the things, because I mentioned I'm a completionist, and it took 15 years, but I did it, and I have the entire collection of all of the original scripts from the series. I found them all, and it took a very long time, but very worth it. I love scripts, and this one. Let's see here. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Here it is, right here. This one is probably my favorite script of Life with Lucy because it is signed by a lot of the cast. And one of the signatures on here is a young Jenny Lewis, who we all know from, she did that Golden Girls episode. She was the Girl Scout, and she played Lucy's granddaughter in this, and she did Troop Beverly Hills, and now she's like a, famous indie pop singer. But I love that, just like, little 10-year-old Jenny Lewis, that's it. So I think, let me take it out of here because I don't want the camera glare on the plastic, but you kind of see it, and there's Philip was he played her grandson. Larry Anderson played Ted, her son-in-law, and then these others were guest stars associated with the show. And this was one of the stand-ins that signed that. So this one's really cool, I think, because it has all these signatures. But yeah, 15 years, but I found them all.
For all of her shows, or just for that one show?
Just for Life with Lucy.
Life with Lucy. Okay.
Just with that one. I mean,
I was like, that's a lot of scripts if you're looking for
a
all
lot
of
of scripts.
stuff.
I do have a lot of scripts in general. I think scripts are some of my favorite things because I'm an actor and I love to just read, the things that didn't make it. Kind of fill in bits and pieces. I think it's fascinating. So I like to pull out the DVDs and sit and follow along.
Oh wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a blast to do that. I love it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I just got some Angel scripts from a friends, and I was
wow.
Some never used, never made production stuff. So that's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
So what else? What else do we have?
Oh, yeah. It's a
stop.
So
Michael, don't stop.
So since I'll stay with scripts right now because I've got some pulled out here. This is a Golden Girls series finale signed by all four. And what blew my mind recently with this, so it's for One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest Part 2, the last episode. This is being featured recently on People magazine because Betty White is doing, or she's not, the estate. They're doing a huge auction of her estate, like 1,500 items. And so they were like, sneak preview. And one of the things that's being previewed is a script exactly like this, signed by all four. And they are putting an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000 on it. And I was just about jumped out of my chair because I certainly didn't pay $3,000 to $5,000 for this, but to know that it's potentially going to get that made my day. I was texting everybody. I was like, "Oh my God, you guys know this one script I have," because everyone knows I have this script. And of course my mom's like, "But are you gonna sell it?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna sell it. Could I? Sure, but no."
Well, who knows? I mean, I would wait to after the auction because the auction probably will go for a lot more.
It probably will. But because I got that kind of before the Golden Girls got like super popular again. I bought it back in like 2012, so about 10 years ago, and it was before the resurgence. So for something that's potentially going for that much, I paid a nice $125 for it, and I was like, cleaned up with that one. And this is another fun script that I have. Switching gears here, this is an original script from the Addams Family, and this I was happy to find because there's not much from the Addams Family from the original series, and this was for Natalie Masters, who played the part of Phoebe. So it was her script, and it's great to see all of her markings and things that are in here. It's the stuff that I'm fascinated by it. I love it, and she even took the time to write in like who the other people were that she was going to be working with, to remember their names, which is so cool. And so when I saw this was like I had to have it because it's been legend and lore that when the show was canceled, someone went in and took a majority of the set and they robbed the set blind. And so there's very little that survived from this series. And so when I found it, I had to get it because it was kind of one of those, it's either now or never. So I was willing to do that and get it. So and it's a lot of fun to read through, and they did cut some things out here, and so it's great to see that. But for its age, real nicely.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
with all the collectibles that you're, all the shows and films, which one has
mhm.
is getting the more resurgence of collectibles being newly made?
Sure, being newly made. Oh, let me just pick that up here. I would also say I'm noticing because coming out that Rob Zombie is doing, I'm seeing a big resurgence in that on eBay and
Which
the
one? I'm sorry.
prices for that stuff.
The
The Rob Zombie is doing a new Munsters movie that's
oh,
coming out later this year, and I'm seeing prices for the Munsters like kind of like with Golden Girls, how everything is it's like really hot right now. So I think those two are really hot at the moment, and of course when Being the Ricardos came out end of last year, there was like a big rush of Lucille Ball on eBay as well. So I think as long as there is a new movie or something out, usually I see the prices go up.
exactly. Unless the
Mhm.
movie's bomb and then everything goes for cheap.
Then everything goes for cheap, and I'll clean up, and that's fine. I don't I don't mind doing that at all. That's okay. um, so let's see. So these are since you are such a Grease 2 fan, um, this is uh, an original program from Grease 2, and it is signed by majority here. We've got Lorna Luft, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Maxwell Caulfield, Dee Dee Khan, and Adrian Zmed. So this probably, I'm assuming when it was premiered, someone probably was able to get this, or they had it there and was able to get it signed by all of them. And it's a really fun book because it breaks down everything, and it's just like this beautiful program, and things like about like On Location, and just great pictures from the movie itself here. A lot of fun. And see, look, there's that silver suit we were talking about. It just love it, love it. And I do have as well. Like I said, I love my scripts. We got an original Grease 2 script, and this has there were like Dee Dee Khan had a song that she was supposed to have in the movie, never made it, but it's in here. And so there's a lot of stuff in the movie because they filmed it in like 17 days, super quick. And so a lot of things in the movie just did not, or in the script did not get made, or didn't even film it, or they cut it. So um, this is a lot of fun to go like to follow through and watch because there's just chunks of this that didn't even make it, and you're like, they just skipped 30 pages, like what? But a lot of fun to do that with this one here. And
Now with this with the with the scenes that were not in it, would have been a. Do you think it would have been a bigger hit? Or would have been a hit?
I don't know. I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have helped it per se, but it would have been great to see. Like Dee Dee Khan really did have her role was supposed to be so much bigger than what we actually got, and so the majority of her stuff was just cut. So I think it would have been more fun had we seen more Dee Dee Khan, but I don't think that would have changed the movie so much.
Yeah. Well, I think the movie has gotten much more of a cult following now than it did
Oh
when it
yeah,
came out in
it
theaters.
definitely has gotten more cult following here, and I do have so here with me is probably about maybe 20% of my collection. The majority of my stuff is still at my parents because you can only do so much in a New York apartment, and I have two roommates, so really I keep it all in here. But I do have, and I'll send you pictures. I have one of the original Girl for All Seasons costumes, and I have the month of August, and because that's my birthday month, so I was like, month of August? Yes, absolutely. And it's the baseball costume. Uh, and so that's a lot of fun. And I'll show you here. I'm going to take you on a little walk and plug that. Um, let's see how we're doing here because I want to show you, since we're on the topic of Grease 2, this is my Grease 2 jacket. This is a cast and crew jacket from the movie, and it was set just as like a Rydell High jacket. And on the back here, it says Grease 2. Let me see if I can turn that around so you can see it here. Yeah, right there, Grease 2, which is fun with a little uh, that motorcycle sidecar there. And this was something I'd found on eBay, actually, believe it or not, and I love it. Now I will say I did try this on. I did try this on because it's a cast and crew jacket. I was like, that's okay, that's all right, because it wasn't like screen used here. And next to Grease 2, this belonged to Rue McClanahan. This was from her personal wardrobe. This really great caftan, and this beading is gorgeous. And actually, it's sheer, but it's Oh, poor Mickey. It's sheer, but the beads are actually pretty heavy. So it actually makes for a really heavy robe. But she wore this in her personal life. And I do have a picture of her with it. And she had auctioned it off to help raise money for charity uh, back in back in the 90s, and I had purchased that from a friend of mine in Indiana, and who's a big Golden Girls fan and collector as well. So I love that I've got just a little bit of Rue back there.
Right. And I love the with the grease too, because I don't think they figured out what they were going to do with the, I mean, they used the logo of the motorcycle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It looks
So
like maybe they didn't know what they were going to happen to do. They didn't
right,
use the grease car. I like that. I like it. I like it. I like it.
it's neat, right? It's different. It's nice. It's to think that that could have been the logo, which I mean it would still work, but I think the motorcycle just really that's what you know it for. The
Or bowling
motorcycle.
ball. It could have been in bowling ball because
Oh, it could have been a bowling
we're gonna
ball. Oh,
bowl tonight.
right, right. Oh
Don't
my
get me
gosh.
started to singing. No, no, no.
I know. We can
Something
turn
else
this
to
into a
get my mind
sing
off
along.
of Grease too.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. So this is kind of hard to take out of the plastic, but this is from the animated Addams Family series from 1992 that Hanna-Barbera did, and this is the original artwork for the kitchen for the Addams Family series. And so I bought this from a collector here in New York who has a very similar collection to mine in like Munsters, Lucy Adams. I was like, oh my gosh, I found a twin. And so I bought this from him, and he has uh, the actual art for the exterior of the home, which is beautiful. So this is really neat too because you can see on top it has all the holes in it that they would use to hang it up here when they would film off of it, and then insert the cells for the characters and have them in their like doing the different dialogue and situations here. So this is really cool to have something from an animated series because it's not like there's not going to be costumes or this or that. So it's really neat to have something so unique like this. I love this, and going to be getting it framed soon, custom, because they don't make frames like this at Michael's, unfortunately. But that's okay.
So true.
Right? But we make do, and that's
You
fine.
can't go to
Uh,
IKEA and get one. I mean, you might be able to get something because IKEA always
maybe
have weird sizes. That's all they have.
yeah, it's all those weird size. If they do have it, that's gonna save me a pretty penny because custom framing is
That's true. It's crazy.
not cheap. So these are some fun items here. Going back to Lucy, this is a little bit look into Lucy, like with her like makeup kit and hair and whatnot. These are a pair of her lashes that she wore, Max Factor eyelashes here, and I do have some of her bobby pins as well as that's a little bit of her hair, which is really cool. And then of course, how did she get that famous red in her hair? This is some of her henna rinse. And so you can see, it's just very fine powder. That's basically it. She used this right up until the end, this exact formula here. And so it's really cool, like just to have this henna. Like this is, something because when we think Lucy, we think that the red hair. It's instantly the red hair. So it's just kind of cool to have these little pieces that show that side of her, the beauty, because she was so beautiful and so glamorous. Like that's always something I think everyone just has always loved about her is, she has this beauty, this essence, and she could just do the craziest things, and we loved it. Like it was just so like to be such a trailblazer to show that we love her for it. We absolutely love her for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is the hardest thing for you to ever find in your collection?
Hardest thing to find. I would definitely say those wigs I showed you. That was hard. As well as the sweatpants. That was a challenge. Uh, but I did. It's at my parents' house because it's so big. Um, I got recently. They put out in the 50s when I Love Lucy was running, and they had all the little Ricky dolls and the toys and whatnot. They had a little Ricky doll changing table, and very difficult to find. And also, if you do find it, because it's like metal and it's that like that plasticky vinyl that can easily deteriorate, or it got ripped over the years. And I recently was able to find one, and it was, believe it or not, like probably about 30 miles from New York, and so I didn't think, like, almost like in my backyard essentially. And but it's at my parents' house. But that I've spent many years finding, and I only saw it one other time available, and I didn't get it then because for whatever reason I couldn't. But this time I saw it and I was like, gotta have it. So that was probably the hardest, the Little Ricky changing table.
Nice. And what do you have a wacky story about finding a collectible?
Wacky story finding a collectible.
You might not.
Um, hmm. Yes, yes, I do. It's more so in that it's actually with the post office, and I got the collectible, I got the item, but it was the transporting it. I had gotten one of the Little Ricky dolls, and I was being delivered here. And, I was at work and I got the notification said delivered. Now, my roommates know because when it comes to the mail, I'm like, please get it right away. Like, they just know when it comes to mail, as we all do, because the mail is what it is. So, like, the second I get a notification, I text whoever. I'm like, it's here, please get it. And they go get it. And so I sent the text and she was like, it's not here. And I'm like, what? What do you mean it's not here? And she said, it's not here. And so, of course, like, my heart sank because, that I was, very excited for it. And it turns out that it was delivered to the neighbors probably about 5 buildings down. And they brought it back and they said they opened it, and because I don't know, they thought it was theirs. I don't know, but they were so terrified to see a doll because like, dolls in that time didn't have like the most, like, the prettiest faces, and so they said it was terrifying. So they were happy to return it because they didn't want it in their house. And I said, well, thank you, because I want it in mine. So I would say that was probably my craziest, just because it could have been lost and I never would have gotten it. But luckily it returned, and I have my scary Little Ricky doll still.
And I'm sure they did an exorcism as soon as they left it.
They probably did. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm just grateful to have gotten it back. I sweated that.
What's all that over behind you on to the right of you? All that looks like all monster stuff.
It is, yes. So let me do this here. So it is a lot of Munsters and Addams Family. So I'm going to open these doors here so you can see it a little bit easier. All right, so let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, so this one shelf here is all Munsters. These are the Whitman puzzles that they had in the 60s, and above that, sitting on there, are the Munster hand puppets that were out, of course, at the same time here. And this is a Munsters Today A&W root beer shirt. This is from the 80s series, the reboot, if you will. And they had a promotion with A&W root beer. And there's not a lot of Munsters Today items. So whenever I find something, I do always try to grab that. I like to collect from the whole franchise of the Munsters, not just the 60s. And these here are, there we are. These are the Remco dolls that they put out here of Herman, Lily, and Grandpa. And next to that are 2 costumes. These are Lily and Herman here. These are the ones that Ben Cooper put out back in the 60s that were extremely popular. I'm still trying to get my hands on a Grandpa one because the Grandpa one is really hard to find, actually, and usually sells for quite a bit. So someday soon, I'm going to be adding Grandpa to the collection here. The next shelf, this is got a lot of Addams Family on this shelf here. I have the same Remco dolls that the Munsters one, so these 3 here, that they did of Fester, Morticia, and Lurch. Surprisingly, no Gomez. I've always wondered why they never did a Remco doll of Gomez. And I do have the same hand puppets as well. I think it's kind of fun that both series had similar items made available. So the fact that they had like the same puppets, same Remco dolls, like that idea, I think is really neat. And there's puzzles and record here, and the snow globe is the cast and crew gift for Addams Family Values, which I think is so cool, and with Thing holding it. And we've got some items here. These are from the Addams Family musical. These were cast gifts, cast and crew gifts that were given. And below here, got a little more. Here we go. So a little more. We have some Lucy items. We have Golden Girls. These are really neat Grease 2 model kits that they put out back in the day here. And some more Lucy paper dolls here. This is a Philip Morris football schedule because Philip Morris was a main sponsor of the show for first few seasons. Pardon me, and set that there. And this is actually I love this. Uh, my best friend just gave this to me. It's a Don Loper tie, and it's an original Don Loper, of course, similar to that Lucy episode where she wanted to wear the Don Loper dress in the fashion show. When they did the Hollywood episode. So I get to say I have a Don Loper original too, which is kind of fun. And then over here, these are actually earrings that Vivian Vance wore on the Lucy show. These beautiful, just clip-on earrings here, and they're gorgeous, and they pop that blue. It's really pretty stunning, and that's the little Ricky doll that they were terrified of. The hand puppet of little Ricky there, and this is not the exact one, but this was a prop that they used on an episode of Life with Lucy. Not the actual prop, but it's the exact same kind of thing here. And this is there we go. A five and dime watch of Lucy and Desi here during the run of the show. These are pretty hard to find actually, but they did them in different colors. That's the pink one, and right here is the ice cream lid, like a Dixie, yeah, like a Dixie ice cream sort of thing. And at the time, they had a lot of these out, and they had Lucy and Desi, of course. So that's a vintage ice cream lid. There we go. Okay, there we are.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
thank you. So that's just, I love this cabinet. It's so much fun. I love doing it. And there we go. So yeah.
So the rest of your collection is at your mom and dad's house?
Yeah, a lot of it is there, and I have other things here I can of course show as well that I
Oh
pulled.
yeah, let's see them.
Yeah.
But
Um,
so they're supportive and they charge you for storage? What?
oh, they don't, thank God. But when I was home for the pandemic, because I left New York at the height of the pandemic, I left in March, and I was gone for 10 months. And when I was gone and living with them, I did a lot of shopping in 10 months. And I told my parents, I said, "Look, I promise you, this is all going to come back to New York with me." And so I was like, "Well, I'm gonna, have to drive, of course. There's no way this will all fit in any sort of suitcase luggage." And I had to rent the largest SUV that they had because I did that much shopping in 10 months. But it was fun, right? It's all fun.
Wow. Look what you did with your stimulus checks.
Right? Oh, now they know. The government knows, but that's okay. That's all right. Um,
You were able to
so
do whatever you wanted with them.
that's right. That's right. This is a really neat item here. This is from Lucille Ball's movie Mame that she did in 1974. This is a call sheet, and it's for the very first day of shooting. And it's really neat because not a lot of these exist. They just got tossed after the day was done. But it's for the first day of shooting, and the first day that they shot was on January 3rd, 1973. And so you could see how they're doing. It's got their makeup schedule, all the different times that everyone is needed here, and it's front and back. And on the back side is more all about like for the cameramen, the grips, costumes, the on-set teacher that they needed for what's his name, for the guy who played um the little boy. Why am I blanking on it here? Patrick, yes, and for Kirby, that was his real name. So like for his on-set teacher, everything. It's really neat to see this and get an idea of how this movie was made, especially because it's a musical film, which is um, 10 times more difficult to make. Um, and then speaking of music, uh, we gotta love sheet music. So this is original sheet music for, of course, the one and only "I Love Lucy," and there's a brand new "Baby at Our House" that they did on the series, for little Ricky and as well as for their children in real life. So these took a while to find. This was definitely the "I Love Lucy" was the harder of the two to find here. Um, but I found it from someone in Chicago actually, and was really grateful that they were willing to sell it to me because it's in beautiful condition, not a tear, it's not faded. Like this was a score when I found this one because it's just I love it. I absolutely love this, and it's the song. It's all of that. It's wonderful. never gets old. Really, it doesn't. Um, these are here. These are two of the harder things to find in Munsterland. So they put out a series of board games, and these are two of them. This is the Munsters Picnic game and the Munsters Masquerade game. And this is based on the very first episode, Munsters Masquerade. And the picnic one is its own kind of story, but the board games themselves are like of similar play. The boards are set up almost identical. So it's kind of like having the same game twice, but different themes. So there's also one, there's a drag race one too, with like the Dragula and the Munster Mobile. So there is a third one that's out there, but those are harder to find. And being the completionist that I am, I've been waiting to buy them complete. I didn't want to, wait and if it said missing one piece, I'm out. I want to make sure that I really try to get everything as complete. And I love doing board games, these and other board games as well, like for the Addams Family or some Lucy games, because my dad, he's a big board game guy, so we have a lot of fun playing these together. So I do get to enjoy the games themselves, and it's always a good time whenever I go home. We're like, what board game do we play? So I like to do those all the time, as much as I can.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Gosh, it's just, this is so fun just to be like, I get to talk collection for a day. These here, these took a while to find, especially the Addams Family one. I'll show that one first. This is a sealed pack of Addams Family trading cards, and it still has the piece of bubble gum in it because at the time it came with Super Bubble. And so this is an unopened pack, and I do have the series itself. I think this is 66 cards if I remember, but it took me a long time to find a sealed pack. Sometimes you can find the wrapper still, but a sealed pack doesn't come up very often. And similar how I love how we have like the puppets are the same for both the shows and the Remco dolls. You got to have a sealed Munsters pack as well, and I have all of these series, the series as well. This one I think is 72 cards. They're just slightly different, but I love having both sealed, and because I was like, I don't want just a wrapper. I want the real deal as if I could buy it back in the day. So these were fun to find. Took a while, but worth it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks.
So what was the most expensive thing in your collection?
Most expensive thing was the Life with Lucy sweatpants. That was
okay. Well, who knew?
Yeah, that right. Something that Lucille Ball wore would be, yeah. And I do have some other wardrobe pieces of her as well, but that was the most expensive. And yeah, the most expensive in my whole collection, and they were $700 for the pants. So I've done pretty well. I really do try to make my collection, like affordable. I mean, we all try to because we have bills to pay. But I do well in like, I believe that the timing is everything when you find that item, and if it lines up, the price, the condition, all of that, and it works out and it's meant to be, then I think it's like that's part of like the fun of it, because you were like, this was hand given to me, like this
or when you see it, you don't buy it and then you lose it.
Oh, and and we all have those like collector regrets where you're like, I should have just bid.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. What was wrong with me?
Exactly. And I've done that before with some things, but then when they've come back around, then I've gotten them. And these two things that I have here, it happened with both of them, but then I finally got them. Lucy and Desi were always so kind to their crew and everyone. And these were some gifts that they gave. This is from the 50s. This was the Desi Loose Sales Inc. And it's got, of course, the lovely logo that we all know and love with the stick figures. And it has a beautiful gold trim, and it's this pencil holder, and it's still in fantastic shape. Like the cork is there. This was a tough one to find, and one of those, why didn't I bid on it before? And then I finally got my opportunity. And then this is a rocks glass that she gave to, this would have been more, here's Lucy Show era, this rocks glass, and there is a matching ice bucket that I'm hoping to find that has this same, like the Lucille Ball Productions logo here, and it's a black ice bucket, and it has the logo in gold, and on the other side it says, hard to see, but it says Love Lucy. So that's like on the bucket list to get the matching ice bucket to go with the rocks glass.
Nice. So is that what is your top things you are looking for?
Top things I'm looking for. Um, I'm always looking for scripts because I enjoy them so much. Like the one shelf there is the majority of that is all original scripts from mostly Lucy shows, but there's some other ones in there too. So I'm always looking for scripts. But in I guess looking at this way too, like in Lucy, I'm always looking for there's this great promotional item from Mame that went out for publicity purposes, and it's a mirror. It's this beautiful mirror that has the Mame logo on it, and with her sitting on the moon. Because there's that one scene in the movie where she is in the Broadway show for one night with Vera, and it's that logo there with the moon, and it's purple. It's like a purpley glitter, and it's gorgeous. It's very 1930s looking for the sake of the film. So I've been searching for that one. Um, and then Munsters, it was something from this movie that I showed you the wigs from. So I kind of like crossed that off to own wigs, things like that. But I guess overall is I'm always looking for like more costumes, more like tangible items from the productions themselves. I love collecting toys and all of that, and puzzles. I love it all, but definitely from the production itself. That I would say I'm always looking for that.
And for Grease too?
For Grease too. Oh yeah, no, I if I can find another costume, if I can get another Girl for All Seasons costume, if it's available, yeah, I need to own that because they're just so campy and and also it's interesting how they made them because they look beautiful in the scene, right? The the August one has a baseball bat on it, and it's literally one of those red plastic wiffle ball bats we all had growing up, and it's just covered in brown fabric and hot glue to make it look like a wooden baseball, like a wooden baseball bat, excuse me. So it just goes to show, you can get away with a lot of things from a distance, but it's not the most well-made costume, but it's still it did the job. It did the job.
Nice, nice,
Mm-hmm.
nice, nice, nice. Um, well, do you have anything else laying around? Because if not,
You know what? I do. Who would have thought? There's more. Um, I this was the first after finding that color forms kit that my parents had or my mom had. This is the first thing that I ever bought at an antique store, and it is this Munsters comic book. I was a kid. This is probably around the same age, and it was $5. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And I'm being in the back seat of my parents' van after buying it and just reading it. Just like I couldn't wait to get my hands on this. And it was on top of a giant stack of comic books that was just kind of like in the back. It's called Stockton Sales was the name of this mall, and it wasn't like an antique mall that you think of with like the big beautiful cases that we were speaking of. It was just kind of like antique, but had like a junk element to it as well. But this was there, and even though now you can see it's got some edges, some issues with the edges there, but I still I would never replace this because there's such sentimental attachment because when you're young like that and you have the money, this was like talk about a $5 investment. This is I guess the first thing that I recall I spent my money on this. So this means a lot to me, and I love it, and yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful to me.
that's beautiful. And that's a beautiful story.
Thank you. And I've been fortunate enough to meet Butch Patrick, and I met him with he has his own Munster mobile, and you know what? I want my own Munster mobile. That's the item right there. If I can get a Munster mobile, that would be it for me. I want that. But he was so nice because I Lucy passed away. I wasn't even a year old. Like I didn't. So a lot of the people that I wish I could meet, I have not met just because of age and that. But to meet a Munster was phenomenal, and he was just the nicest guy. So I did get to meet him in New Jersey at the New Jersey Comic Con. He was there, and it was great. It was so much fun.
Well, wonderful. Well, Michael, thank you so much for taking us down memory lane and all the
Oh,
stuff in your bedroom. And it's you have a really cool collection.
Thank you so much. I've had such a blast doing this. And listen, if you ever want to see more at my parents' house, we could do a part 2 there. We go on location,
We can. We will. We
All right.
should.
I'm so for doing that. And you can see, and there's even more, but I thank you so much for having me. I've had such a blast today.
Absolutely. Where can people reach you if they have anything they want to sell you or want to trade with you or anything like that?
Yeah. Probably Instagram would be the best way. My Instagram handle is Michael Valvo 1. So they can always send me a DM there. And yeah, because I've done some purchasing through that way. And so that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me would be that.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for taking time and sharing your collection because it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank
And
you
I
so
love
much.
the Grease 2 stuff. I love the Grease 2. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I'll send you pictures of the costume so you can see it because it's fun.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
everybody out there, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please like us, share us, share us with the world so they all can appreciate the Munsters, the Addams family. It was the Addams family, right?
Yeah, no, you got it. You did. See, this is, that's why I
Lindsay
say
and Grease 2. It's one of those things where I'm like, did I get that right?
you did well. That's why I say vintage TV film collector because then I go into the subtitles and then then we go from there.
I know you have a lot of stuff you collect. I don't know how you do it all.
I love it. I make it happen. It's magic.
It's magic. Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you for everybody watching.
Yay. Thank you guys.
Bye.